Thank you so much for watching The Real Source. In this video, we're going to be doing a review of the much anticipated first African original series, Queen Sono. It's a series that's been hyped for quite a while now. Even I have hyped it to the extent that I made 2 videos about it already. So in this video, I'm not going to be going into the nuts and bolts of who directed it or who produced it and all of that. If you want that information, you can go to those videos. In this video specifically, I'm going to be talking about the things that I enjoyed and the things that I didn't enjoy so much about Queen Sono. Let me start then with the positives. I have to give a big compliment to the star of this show, Thusi, who plays the title role of Queen Sono. Queen Sono is a powerful woman, a woman who is called to some extent to save the people of Africa in her capacity as a super spy of sorts, and Thusi inhabits that role beautifully. In fact, I would say she is poised to become a real asset in as far as inspiring African actresses going forward. I think she carries the role with a lot of power, with a lot of authority, and I look forward to seeing what she will do in future productions, not just in future seasons of Queen Sono, but in other productions that she will certainly find herself in. I also want to commend her co-stars in this production, and here I'm talking about Vuyo Dabula, Kate Licorice, who plays the main villain, Chi Mende, and Rob van Vuren. These actors and actresses in particular stood out for me in terms of how they inhabited their roles, how they really came through to deliver a powerful performance in this 6-part series. So congratulations to them. The final thing that I enjoyed, and this is a bit of a divisive issue because not everybody would agree with me on this, but the use of political themes, talking about political issues happening in Africa, and by this I'm talking about ownership of resources, ownership of land, the freedom of African people. These are things that were touched upon in Queen Sono. And the reason why I enjoyed it is because it gave the show subtext. In other words, rather than just looking at this as a spy African thriller series, we were able also to be familiarized with some of the hot topics in African life, some of these things that African people, African politicians are grappling with. Now, as I said, this isn't for everybody. Some people, because of where they sit on the political spectrum, might not have enjoyed this, and I understand that. But for me personally, as somebody who is into African issues and into African politics, I really enjoyed this. I feel this was a master stroke in the writing, and it gave the TV series something of an extra layer of depth. So I really enjoyed that. Now, moving to the things I didn't enjoy so much in the show, I talked a little earlier about some of the really strong performances that came from actors like Thusi and some of her supporting cast. But in the same way, there were also some really poor, average performances. And so that, to me, tended to pull down the efforts of those that did really well. Now, there could potentially have been a resourcing issue in terms of the financial resources required to pull in the right level of talent. I'm not sure what the issue was, but that for me felt like quite a bit of a letdown, because you have something that's really great pulled down potentially to the level of average. So that was a thumbs down as far as I'm concerned. Now, my last point is not so much of a criticism as it is an observation and something that goes onto my wish list for the future, and that is the spy action thriller genre. Now, this is something we have seen before. We've seen movies like the Bourne trilogy. We have watched series like Homeland. And so we know what this genre should feel like. We know how the pace of the editing should be. We know how sound effects should be used. We know what we expect as an audience. And I felt let down by aspects of the post-production. At times, pace was an issue, or you had a scene that felt like it was really building up to become something beautiful, and then you sort of saw it fell flat. I hope that in a future season of Queen Sono, these things will be refined, crafted a little better. because these are things, as I said earlier, that can take something that is potentially excellent and render it really just average. So the editing and some of the post-production, I hope to see an improvement in future. Having said all that though, I really do want to see a second season of Queen Sono. Again, I commend Thusi. I commend some of the writing in terms of the layering of deep issues. There are things, as I said, I want to see improvements, but I do want to see a second season of this. I think shows like Queen Sono are important for Africa. They show where we sit on the spectrum as far as streaming, which has become the way of consuming things, particularly as we see what's unfolding in the world right now. People are home, people are streaming. Well, at least those who have the ability to do so are streaming. And so there is more of a global eye on what is happening in the streaming space. So that is my thinking around Queen Sono. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. If you have watched Queen Sono or are thinking about it, but particularly if you've watched it, please leave your comments in the section below. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. I do appreciate those of you who have shown the channel support. But from me, Tafadzo here on The Real Source, thank you so much for watching and take care.